Chair recognizes that the Lenore County Board of Education has established a quorum and calls the November 1st, 2021 regular board meeting to order. Chair recognizes Mr. Nick Harvey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let us pray. May the words spoken in this room tonight be beneficial to the students, parents, staff, and administrators in our school system. And may we be led by the guiding principle to always base our decisions on the best interests of our young people. Amen.
Thank you, Harvey. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Mr. Brent Williams to present the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight, members of the board, it's my honor, privilege to present to you for your consideration and hopefully your approval the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to the agenda?
Move to accept the agenda.
A motion by Mr. Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Woods. We have a motion by Mr. Davis and a second by Mr. Woods to approve the board agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. The agenda is set for tonight's meeting. Okay, I do have a couple of comments. Let's see anybody else come in. Mr. Williams, you see anybody come in? Okay. So, first of all, let me just make everybody aware that Mrs. Carolyn Murchison was not able to be with us tonight. So, Mrs. Melissa Show is sitting in her place and will be our legal advisor for the evening. Also, Miss Pam Brown with the Lenore County Health Director is with us tonight. I'd like to welcome you. Thank you for being with us. Okay. All right, we would like to thank everyone for adhering to the board policy and wearing a face covering while in all Lenore County public school facilities. We would like to request that board members and presenters please speak up, as it is difficult sometimes to hear what someone is saying when they are wearing a mask. We have a full action item agenda for tonight, and I would ask that each board member have their questions ready for our presenters. I would also ask that you request to be recognized before your question. This will help facilitate an orderly, timely, efficient, and effective meeting. We would like to continue to thank all of the staff and employees, regardless of job description, of the Lenore County Public School System for all the outstanding commitment, dedication, and hard work that has gone and continues to go into making the students of Lenore County Public Schools as successful as possible under the extraordinary circumstances that have existed during the last school year and continue to exist during the current school year. We want to assure all stakeholders that the Lenore County Board of Education and the administration will commit to trying to do everything possible to provide for a safe and healthy environment for students, staff, and our community. We not only want to provide a quality education for our students, but also a safer environment for our students and staff to foster learning and success. We have more grant recipients to announce tonight. Mr. Williams will highlight the local and state winners in his comments. We have an accomplishment that will be acknowledged tonight concerning presentations at the Annual School Boards Association Conference this month, and I think Mrs. Harrington is going to highlight that. We also will have our first digital showcase presentation tonight since the pandemic. I think that's a step forward, and this is Career Development Month, and we have a presentation tonight highlighting the district-wide events taking place this week. Thank you. That concludes my comments. Chair recognizes Mr. Brent Williams for his report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a busy time in our schools, as you all know. Our teachers and students are working hard. We've completed the first marking period. Report cards have gone home. They went home last Wednesday. We're well into the second 9 weeks. We appreciate the hard work and dedication by all. Tonight, we are bringing back, speaking of that dedication, tonight we're bringing back the school improvement plans from each school for board consideration and a board vote. These plans represented a great deal of hard work and dedication by our teachers, our administrators, other staff members, and parents who serve on those committees and contribute to the schools in various ways and the larger overall community in doing all that we all can together to address the individual needs of our students and to try to make excellence a daily reality for every student we serve. I'm very pleased to share with you that LCPS, as noted by Mr. Hill, has been selected. Our teachers and our administrators have been selected by the North Carolina School Boards Association, NCSBA, to present 11 different presentations of educational innovation. The most we've ever had is 7, and I was very proud of that. That was pre-pandemic, but 11 presentations to be selected in a single year is outstanding. I believe that it's the most in the state, but I have asked for verification on that from School Board Association. I'll let you know next month that will happen this month in Greensboro, and we'll be taking those teams up there and presenting and coming back uplifted in sharing what's going on in Lenoir County and what we're seeing in our classrooms from our teachers and other staff members every day. So congratulations to our record-setting presenters. I've asked Ms. Herring tonight, as Mr. Chairman noted, to provide short summaries of those presentations that we'll be making in Greensboro this month. Our schools continue to raise the bar. Our theme is level up, and indeed we are doing that with regard to seeking grants and mini grants. In a moment, I will share with you the information about teacher accomplishments this year with the local and state level Bright Ideas grants. It simply was outstanding. LCPS dominated the Tri-County area with Wayne, Duplin, and Lenoir in the local Tri-County Electric Touchstone Energy competition for Bright Ideas local grants. We also were dominant at the state competition this year. Now, why is that? There's a direct correlation between the number of grants that we submitted and the number that we received. And our teachers dramatically have increased over the last few years, the last 5 years to be exact, the number of grants that we've submitted, and correspondingly we've increased the number that we've gotten. So the first rule of sales is it's a sure no if you don't go and try. You lost every sale you didn't try to make. So our teachers are going there. They're writing these grants. They're trying to get extra money for the classrooms. And I'm so proud and pleased to be able to share with you tonight that they are succeeding. And they were so happy. Tri-County canceled the local dinner that they always have, the awards dinner, because of the pandemic. But they did have our teachers show up, and there was a reception. They had ice cream and presented checks and honored our teachers with applause. So I was very, very proud of them. But they're achieving at a very high level. I also want to highlight the hard work that's happening in our other schools around seeking grants. We've had a friendly competition develop among our schools. I think that's outstanding. Northwest Elementary School, for instance, set their goal last year at just over $50,000. They earned over $65,000 for the year, so they surpassed their goal. This year, they set the lofty goal of $100,000. And I am pleased to report to you that as of last week, the staff, the teachers of Northwest Elementary School, through their grants that have been funded from various sources, and they're going after anything and everything, they have surpassed $100,000. And folks, that was prior to going into November. So still not even November, and they've elapsed the $100,000 mark. So now they're raising that bar even more onward and upward. Couldn't be more proud of them. Our other schools are doing the same. For instance, Northeast Elementary School had their fun run this weekend to cap off a successful fundraising campaign. Many of you have been involved in that. Mr. Woods and his family certainly have helped dramatically with the fundraising process there for solar power education grant that they received. You had to have matching funds, and the school has done a great job. They've now met their goal. As of this weekend, they've surpassed their goal, and all funds received from the fun run that they had on campus through the school this weekend, this Saturday, will be used to supplement that grant and increase educational opportunities for our kids. So excited about that. Our folks are just doing amazing things. Now, turning to our young people, and I'll come back to Bright Ideas in a second, but I want to pause to honor one of our students. So proud of him. I remember when he was just a little guy running around, and little guy is not the way I would describe him now, but one of our own, a student at Kinston High School, a senior who's graduating a year early, I might add. because of grade skipping and advancement. He's just doing so many things, but he's a young senior, but he's just doing outstanding things. Great student and an even better human being. I'm so proud of him. But Kinston Senior, an all-state football player, Nicholas Harvey III, is one of 10 student athletes in North Carolina and South Carolina chosen as a 2021 Carolina Panthers community captain. The annual program recognizes 10 outstanding high school athletes in North Carolina and South Carolina who excel in their sport, in the classroom, and in the community. Nicholas plays offensive and defensive tackle for the Kinston High School Vikings and was named the 2A All-State team to the 2A All-State team as a junior. Academically, he is at the top of his class, a full diploma candidate in the International Baccalaureate program whose course load includes college level and AP classes. He's a member of the school's chapter of Fellowship of Christian Athletes and a peer mentor with his underclassmen support program. He is vice president of the school's National Honor Society chapter. In addition to the Carolina Panthers Community Captain Award, he was selected for the 2021 class of North Carolina Governor's School and is one of 30 students in the county enrolled in the 2021 Chick-fil-A Leader Academy that I'll talk about in a second. He's Kinston High's nominee for the Moorhead Kane Scholarship for the university attendance at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. At this time, I would like to bring forth Nicholas Harvey III, and let us recognize him. I'd like for his parents, his dad, to come forward, and I think his principal. Miss Bryant is here. You come forward too. Congratulations. I think I told you nothing about little guy again, right? His dad used to be a dad. Congratulations, Nicholas. I'm proud of you. So proud. Nicholas, I wasn't really fully kidding you about the speech part. I've given young people the last couple of board meetings an opportunity to address, not getting out of it. I've been teaching too long. Let me pull you right back in. I want to give you an opportunity to share from this experience, this leadership opportunity, and any of the rest of them that you've had, because colleges are looking at him and making offers and scholarship offers and all that stuff. This young man's got a lot of things swimming around his head. He represents success and the best that LCPS has to offer in our community, and he's giving back to our community, and he couldn't design a better student, young man. You want to share with them some of the things, some of your perspectives from this Carolina Panthers Leadership Academy, reflections, anything that it taught you?
First, I want to thank everyone for this recognition. I mean, it's an honor. It's always been a goal of mine to represent my community well, represent Kinston High well. Just helping everyone. I want to thank everyone that's helped me get here because I could not have done it on my own. And just helping people. That's always been a goal of mine. So I'm going to continue to do in life. And I just want to tell everyone thank you.
Great job.
Good job, Mr. Harvey.
Nicholas, did you speak to the guy on the end right there? Okay, winners of the Bright Ideas grants and regional statewide competitions were announced last week, and the news was very, very good for LCPS teachers. And the regional competitions sponsored, as I said before, by Tri-County Electric in Dudley, North Carolina. Our teachers won more than half of the 99 Bright Ideas grants awarded, and 5 LCPS schools picked up an additional $500 each for having the most grant winners in a 3-county area. Those grant awards presented last Monday night are valued at $45,762. In the state level competition sponsored by NC Electric Cooperatives, LCPS teachers won 21 grants. That's also the most we've ever done at the state level. So you see the value-added contributions by our teachers. Those awards will be presented at a luncheon in Raleigh on November 19th. Tri-County's Bright Ideas grants were capped at $1,000 and are available to teachers in grades pre-kindergarten through 12 at all schools in the Dudley EMC's service area. That means that 9 of our schools were eligible to compete in that local competition. Now remember, we won over half of their 99 grants, but only 9 of our 17 schools were eligible for that. And of the other schools, every single school, every one of our other schools submitted to the state level that all schools are eligible for, and we had a strong showing there as well. So proud of all of our schools for the Bright Ideas grants. Congratulations. So the Chick-fil-A Leader Academy is a leadership development program for high school students, combining leader labs and student-led and run impact projects. Chick-fil-A Leader Academy reimagines high school leadership. The goal of the academy is to impact through action. Mentors lead the group each month, once-a-month meetings through the Leader Labs. Students will participate in culminating leadership projects at the end of the school year. The Lenoir County group of 30 students is unique because it's a multi-school experience. Students from our traditional high schools, the early college, and 2 private schools were selected to participate in this program. The group is sponsored by our local Chick-fil-A, and we are grateful to for this partnership and the opportunities this provides to our students. I want to say personally to John McFall, who owns and operates the local Chick-fil-A, we want to thank him for his partnership and his vision in this. The original program calls for 1 high school to be involved, and John has expanded that to all of our high schools in the area, all Lenoir County high schools. So we appreciate him for that and for including us and really supporting our children. Now, student attendees include Elijah Heath, Early College, also from the Early College, Ayanna Rouse, Jakira Simmons, Early College, and Jennifer Zavala, Early College. From Kinston High School, Brianna Cherry, Nicholas Harvey III, Cornelius Heath Jr., Stefan Joyner, Jordan Middleton, and Mallory Miller. From North Lenoir High School, Jack Britt, Caroline Lafone, Alexis Laws, Amber Robertson, and Niquasia Rufus. From South Lenoir High School, Trinity Beverly, Brody Hill, and Jalee Mossberg. Congratulations to all of our Chick-fil-A student leaders for the Chick-fil-A Academy. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Any questions or comments from Mr. Williams? Thank you for your report, Mr. Williams. As I had said before, I just think just highlight some of the good things that are going on in Lenoir County Public Schools. And I think all of our teachers and our students deserve a round of applause. Thank you. Okay, now we'll go to public comment. And we have 2 people who have signed up. As a reminder to all, per board policy, comments are to be limited to 3 minutes per person. No one will be allowed to be heard in open session regarding student or employee matters. Board members will not respond to individuals who address the board except to request clarification of points made. And this is Michelle will be our timekeeper and keep the time for us. First person on the list is Mr. Jonathan Britt.
First, congratulations to tonight's award recipients. Mr. Harvey, I know you must be very proud. I am Jonathan Britt, parent of 2 LCPS students. I'm here to ask again that you make masks optional for students and staff in consideration of the following. Children continue to not be at significant risk from COVID. In North Carolina, out of 2,040 total deaths from all causes among 0 to 17-year-olds between January 1 and October 2nd of this year, 10 were due to COVID. That's 0.49% of this group's deaths being from COVID. In Lenoir County, there have been 0 COVID deaths among anyone under 25 years old since the start of the pandemic. The case curves in counties and states requiring masks versus those not requiring masks have followed similar trajectories, further proving that masks have little to no impact on case counts. Children who have had COVID and fully recovered now have some level of natural immunity, further reducing their risk of future infection. Your mask mandate provides no consideration for anyone's health history or condition and subjects every student and staff member to the following evidence-based physiological effects from masks. Shortness of breath, lower oxygen levels in the blood, raised carbon dioxide levels in the blood, the collection and colonization of viruses, bacteria, and mold in the mask, self-contamination, increase in stress hormone levels, dizziness, malaise, chemical toxicity from textile and non-woven masks, activation of fight or flight stress response, chronic stress condition, fear, mood disturbances, insomnia, fatigue, depression, decrease in empathy, feelings of isolation, compromised cognitive performance, delayed language development, and suicide ideation. There's been a 334% increase in self-harm in ages 13 to 18. Health consequences include mask-induced exhaustion syndrome, staph infection, strep infection, headaches, anxiety, hypertension, inflamed gums, oral ulcers, throat abscesses, bacterial pneumonia, and lower immune system. 100% of our students and staff members are being subjected to potentially experiencing any of these negative consequences from masks, and by having a forced mask policy, you are complicit in every one experienced. Masks aren't meant to be worn all day in any environment, and schools are fast becoming the only place kids continue to be forced to wear them. It's abusive and should be stopped immediately. Please allow parents to decide for their children and staff members to decide for themselves whether mask use is appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Britt. Next person who has signed up is Crystal Jones.
Thank you. Good evening, Board. My name is Crystal Jones, and I'm the parent to 5 Lenoir County Public School students. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak. I come to you today to ask you to make masks optional, not mandatory. I have gathered some statistics to share with you, some of which are from the Lenoir County Public Schools website. Lenoir County Public School COVID Dashboard has shared information regarding the COVID cases in Lenoir County Public School system for the last 10 weeks. Of these, some statistics are the highest percentage of cases per week was 2.2% of the roughly 9,400 students and staff of our county. The lowest percentage of COVID cases per week is 0.031%. Over the last 6 weeks, the cases have been around or below half of 1%. I believe this decrease in cases is not due to the implementation of masks at our schools. Our students are not wearing masks at other places, such as social events, playing with neighbors, church gatherings, and so forth. I believe this decrease in the number of COVID cases is because of our immune systems are doing their job and building up immunity. Some more statistics I'd like to share with you is the number of deaths among children in Lenoir County, ages 0 to 17, that are due to COVID cases. That number is 0. 0 deaths in Lenoir County due to COVID since the start of this pandemic. With all of these facts given, I have only one question for the board. What is your end game regarding masks? At what point are you willing to make masks optional for Lenoir County Public School? What specific statistics are you looking for before you change your stance on masks? Thank you, and here are my statistics. Where do I turn them in? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. And that concludes public comment. We would like to thank the public for their time, interest, concerns, and comments pertaining to the Lenoir County Public School System. Okay, we'll now move to the presentation portion of the agenda. Chair recognizes, and let's see if I've got everybody here, Mrs. Melissa Lynch, Mrs. Mary
Students and
Reddick,
CSS have been busy creating and learning
Catherine
interactive
Lynch,
activities.
and Mrs. Becky Gunn to showcase the use of digital learning in our schools.
Good evening, Superintendent Williams, Mr. Chairman, and school board members. I'm very happy to be here this evening to present our Digital Learning Showcase. While our students and DLSs are not live and in person with me tonight, I am honored to be sharing on their behalf. The purpose of these showcases is for our students and teachers to share with you the creative ways they're utilizing the iPads and learning programs. Our digital learning specialists have been working with our teachers and students to demonstrate the built-in creative features of Pages and Keynote. These learning applications allow students to demonstrate their learning through text, voice, images, videos, and drawings, all without Wi-Fi connection required. Tonight, we will view a short showcase from Contentnia Savannah K-8 School, where Mary Riddick, the digital learning specialist, will share just a few examples of how students have utilized Pages and Keynote.
Students at CSS have been busy creating and learning through Apple app usage. Check out some of the things they are working on.
And in this example, I'm going to stop just a little bit to talk to you about what you see on the screen. In this example, what you're seeing are kindergarten students that are taking advantage of the built-in features of Pages and Keynote to show quantities with numbers. So they're showing their numbers, and then they're showing with shapes how much that number equals. And what I really like is the last sentence you see, which students are able to then record their voices to show their understanding. So again, these are built-in features of the applications that they have. This is another great example from a first grade class where students are using Pages as math journals. Each week they have a math journal entry, and you can see on the side, on the left-hand side, the different icons. They're using the Pages book template. And this allows students to have a continuous flow of academic activity that they can refer back to. So again, they have all of the features built in, and they have their learning right at their fingertips that they can always go back to. This was a math class utilizing the iPad to do scaled drawings, very detailed scaled drawings, which you see at the final product they were able to combine together to create one image. So art within the math class. Another example in a middle grades classroom, students were utilizing Keynote to make posters of a historical figure, and also utilizing Keynote to make postcards, then putting themselves into the actual historical event. So you can see the student that's circled in blue, that's a picture of that student that's placed themselves into the historical event, which is, it's really cool for students to be able to do that. And the final piece that we're seeing are gifts that were created inside of Ms. Watson's exceptional children's class, where they were making Halloween cards for some of their friends. So again, utilizing those tools that are built in to make our gifts, which are, if any of you are using social media, you're probably using gifts too. So our students are creators of these rather than just being consumers. Next, we have a showcase from Moss Hill Elementary School. For third grade students in Miss Becky Gunn's classroom, 2 research projects completed the first 9 weeks were not your ordinary projects. Miss Gunn, in collaboration with Catherine Lynch, the digital learning specialist at Moss Hill Elementary, has redesigned and added excitement into learning in the classroom. Ms. Gunn had her students complete research notes on a specific planet from the solar system, and for a second project, research about a specific place in the country of Brazil. Ms. Lynch worked with the students to create a keynote slide with their information for each project. Through the integration of technology, students learned how to mask with shapes, group objects, animate, use instant alpha, which is how they put themselves in places, and record audio. Mr. Barnett, the principal, was an important part of the Tiger Space project. The students loved that he was captain of the mission. The redefinition of these projects have led to excitement from the students as well as others involved. Tonight, I will share with you a video created by Catherine Lynch, Digital Learning Specialist from Moss Hill Elementary School, showcasing the third grade students and their learning utilizing Keynote for their projects. Some of their voices are a little low, but I think you'll be able to hear them, and you also will have access to the videos on board docs and on the social media pages of the schools.
From the digital learning specialist meetings that we have each month to the Apple planning and training that we receive from the Apple specialist that comes to the county, to being able to bring these skills back to our teachers through digital learning lounges at our school, having the opportunity to co-plan with Ms. Gunn and integrate technology into a curriculum that she's already teaching in third grade has been so positive for the teachers and the students as well. The students are excited about the creations that they are making each week, and we look forward to doing more into the classroom. I hope you enjoy some of the features of what we've done so far with Keynote.
Hi, I'm Becky Gunn, and I'm really proud of the work that my students have done on these two projects. They worked really hard to research and plan and learn the new technology. Having RDLS available to teach my students and myself has been priceless. Ms. Lynch was able to take my ideas for the project and pair them with just the right technology to make our projects come alive. My students get excited every time they hear that Mrs. Lynch is coming to the classroom because they know they're going to learn something amazing that day.
Hello, my name is Captain Martin, and I would like to welcome you to the Cyberspace Mission debriefing. I was the leader of this mission, and I worked with a group of dedicated and hard-working astronauts. The astronauts on this mission explored far and wide to learn more about our solar system. At times, they put themselves in grave danger venturing outside of the spaceship and dodging the occasional asteroid. We are here today to share our findings with you. Welcome aboard the Tiger Space Mission.
Hi, I am Alex. I really enjoyed learning how to animate on Keynote.
You'll see Malachias' little astronaut in just a moment fly across his screen. That's part of animating on Keynote, which is an added feature. So with Animate, you move objects across your iPad screen, and that's her and Carlos in their Brazil presentation.
Hi, I'm Jonathan with Instant Notebook. I learned how to take a background from a picture. Hi, my name is Eli Tyson. My favorite part of the project was recording.
He likes that he can record, can use his voice.
Hi, I'm Marty, and I learned how to watch shapes that I wouldn't move on the Keynote slide. Hi, I'm Katie, and my favorite thing about Keynote was just learning about all the features.
She liked all the features.
Hi, I'm Molly. For our Tiger Space mission, we were able to pick our planets and were able to use books on Epic to do our research. Hi, I'm Will, and I like doing all the research for the project.
Will liked doing research for his project.
Hi, I'm Max, and I use mathematical shapes to put my face on another object. Hi, I am Tucker Harris. I use Google Translate to do my report on Brazil.
Use Google Translate. He liked doing research for his project.
Hello, my name is Shelby. With audio recording, you can put your research into your project. Hi, my name is Jefferson Lopez Gomez. I know of my projects with my projects because I love integrating technology.
He like integrating all of the technology. And as you can tell from our students on the screen and the ones from Contentney and Savannah, they truly are utilizing the tools that are provided to them in a way to make learning fun and meaningful for them. I think it's wonderful that they have access to digital learning specialists at every school that can work with their teachers and their students to help them understand how to learn the technology, not just for communicating the way that we might communicate with technology, but to showcase their presentation skills. All of these students have their space mission and their Brazil project have been posted on their school's Facebook page, and we would invite you to go and look at that entire project. But I also want you to know that these two videos we've shared tonight will be available for viewing on our Lenoir County website through Board Docs and also through the school Facebook pages. I appreciate your time tonight, and I look forward to coming back with our live students and teachers in the very near future. Are there any questions?
Ms. Lynch, I'd just like to say to the teachers involved, to Ms. Lynch, to Ms. Gunn, Ms. Burnett, everybody involved, to our CSS team, to everybody involved in this project, and especially to our students. Congratulations and thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you for sharing that work with everybody else. And thank you for leading the team from the district office, our efforts with this instructional technology.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you all.
Questions for Mrs. Lynch? All right, thank you, Mrs. Melissa Lynch, Mrs. Mary Riddick, Mrs. Catherine Lynch, and Mrs. Becky Gunn for an outstanding display of digital learning. As I stated earlier, this is our first digital showcase since before the pandemic, and we are excited to be able to see some of the outstanding work of our students and look forward to more in the future. Chair recognizes Mr. Brent Williams, Mrs. Frances Herring, and Mr. Nick Harvey to provide an overview of the 2021-2022 school year today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very quickly, Ms. Herring and Mr. Harvey in our continuing series of informational updates monthly on our pandemic response. Ms. Herring will provide from the instructional lens and Mr. Harvey from the operational one. Okay, Ms. Herring?
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Good evening, Chairman Hill and all board members. Nothing feels more normal than report cards going home last Wednesday for completion of the first 9 weeks of the 2021-2022 school year. We're about a week into the second 9 weeks, and everyone and everything is running on all cylinders. The quill writing competition is this Wednesday, and our writing teams are competing at each middle and high school. And this is the first year we have had this level of participation in the quill writing competition, and we are very excited about it. Students are going on field trips to pumpkin patches and firehouses, just to name a few of the local field trips. Elementary teachers have completed the beginning of year BOI assessments for M-Class, and the first round of NC check-ins are completed in middle school. This Wednesday evening at the Kinston Community Center is the annual college and financial aid event beginning at 6 p.m. and concluding around 8. This year, we have invited all 8th graders to attend, in addition to our high school students. And this is just a very small example of our overall vision to expand college and career awareness to middle school students. There will be over 50 colleges and universities represented, and all of our high schools, thank goodness, are all on track for registering students for FAFSA. And our seniors are very busy submitting applications for colleges. The multi-tiered system of support, also known as MTSS, is meeting regularly, monthly, at each school and identifying interventions for students that are struggling with math skills or reading skills or behavior management. Overall, as this school year progresses, it feels more and more like school should feel. And I'm so appreciative of the hard work of our teachers and our administrators, all of the hard work that they're putting into serving our students and our families. I'm so proud of our staff, and I thank you, each board member, for your support of our students and of our teachers. And that concludes my report.
Mr. Harvey?
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Thank you, board members. Good evening. As Ms. Herring just indicated, we have concluded the first 9 weeks, and we're off to a strong start into our second 9 weeks. As Ms. Herring just indicated, I would also like to thank our staff members for their endurance and their perseverance during these times, and thank them for their hard work as they push through the last 2 months of 2021. And we're looking forward to a strong finish of the calendar year as we move into a new year, 2022. So thank you. During the month of October, I'll start with testing tonight. During the month of October, our nurses conducted around 146 COVID-19 tests. 60 of those tests were conducted via the PCR test through Mako Labs. Last month, I shared with you the new partnership with Mako. We are extremely excited about our Mako partnership. As board members were walking in tonight, you may have seen the van pass by. That van picks up those PCR tests from our schools in an outside drop box location. They handle the processing, and they also handle the communication with parents, which our nurses absolutely love. Our parents are very pleased with this program as well. As soon as symptoms arise, they can report to one of our testing sites and not have to call their physician or stand in the long lines of urgent care to receive the PCR test. This program saves saves our parents time and money. This is also a reminder to all of our parents, we will not conduct a test on a single student without prior parental consent. I know there were some concerns about that on social media. We will not test a student without prior parental consent. In our child nutrition department, Lenoir County Public Schools, like many businesses, are feeling the impact of our supply chain crisis. During the month of October, our child nutrition department struggled to locate and secure lunch items, including some foods and even the lunch trays. Our outstanding team of directors, supervisors, managers, and assistants pushed through these hurdles and continue to provide the highest level of services to our students. I'd like to thank our child nutrition team for their efforts, and we will continue to monitor our supplies, and we will be prepared to continue to serve our students on a daily basis. Some good news from transportation. Mr. Mitchell and his team have recently filled 2 vacancies at the mechanic level. This is a big deal because hiring and maintaining transportation staff members at times have been difficult. I thank you again, board members, for your support of the recruitment and retention bonuses. We talked to Mr. Adams today, and his team have received the funding for that, and those checks will be in the November installment. So we want to make our child nutrition and our transportation employees aware of that tonight. So we thank Mr. Adams and Ms. Heath for their efforts in that endeavor. In athletics, can you believe fall sports seasons? Our fall sports season is almost concluded. We had South Lenore High School volleyball team had an outstanding year this year. They made it to the third round of the state playoffs. Our North Lenore volleyball team made it to the first round. Great job, those coaches. Also, great news from South Lenore, hot off the press today. South Lenore High School finished second place at the Coastal Pre-States competition, and they have qualified for the North Carolina High School Athletic Association state tournament. They've also received a bid for the National High School Championships in Orlando, Florida. So I'm sure you'll see a field trip request very soon from South Lenore High School. So that is great news for that cheer squad down in South Lenore. This past weekend in cross country, we hosted our first ever regional meet in cross country in Lenore County. We thank Coach Carlos Dodd because South Lenore High School actually hosted that event. And all of our schools participated, and it was a great day for our track and field, and specifically cross country this weekend. So thank those student athletes. And today, November 1st, we began our winter sports season. So as we push into the playoffs, North Lenore High School will go to West Craven this week for football, and Kinston High School will go to Eastern Wayne. But our basketball, our wrestling, and our cheerleading teams will continue on into the winter, and those seasons started today. So we are excited about that. And finally, for me, regarding athletics, we just met with our outstanding team of athletic directors and our track coaches at the high school level and middle school level, and we will offer middle school track and field in Lenore County this spring. So thank you, board members, and thank our elected officials at the state level for their partnership, and we are excited because it gives our students another opportunity to be engaged in school. So we thank you, board members, for your support in this endeavor. And Mr. Williams and his vision, this is great news for our kids. That concludes my report.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments from Mr. Williams, Ms. Herring, or Mr. Harvey? Chair recognizes Ms. King.
Two simple questions,
Yes, sir.
just ballpark, number of students. Number of students that we have in our system today, ballpark.
8,500,
Number of employees.
1,100.
Okay, thank you. That was it. Thank you.
Any more questions? Thank you, Mr. Williams. Mrs. Herring, Mr. Harvey, for that overview. Chair recognizes Mrs. Amy Jones to provide an update on Career Development Month.
Okay, good evening, and thank you for allowing us to celebrate Career Development Month with you tonight. Oh, hang on, it's going by itself. Try again. Okay. Pictured here, you will see one of our masonry students working with Mr. Ryan Shaver of the North Carolina Masonry Association, who is visiting North Lenoir High School as a guest speaker. And we have had several guest speakers this school year working with our students. November is Career Development Month. Career Development Week actually takes place November 15th through the 19th, and the updated proclamation from Governor Cooper should be shared at that time. We're fortunate in our district to have 2 career development coordinators, and Career Development Coordinator Day is November 17th this year, and Ms. Brittany Harrison, one of our CDCs, is with us tonight, and I'd like to thank her for her continued support and her presence here. But Ms. Harrison primarily serves the high schools, and Ms. Gina Cousins-West, who primarily serves the middle schools. And we're very fortunate, again, to have 2 career development coordinators in the county working with our students. As you know, our district is engaged with Major Clarity as our principal platform for 6th through 12th grade career exploration. Our district has been honored and considered a super user for both the number of student logins and the number of student repeat visits. We want our students to engage with the platform over and over so that they can continue to discover additional areas of interest. Our Major Clarity usage has been so successful that Ms. Harrison was asked to be on a panel this summer at a national convention to speak about Major Clarity. She did that virtually. It was very good. Our upcoming Major Clarity Day is scheduled for November 22nd. All 6th through 11th grade students will have a task to complete in the Major Clarity platform, and details will be available at each middle and high school, but of course we'll promote it as well. And we are planning for a follow-up day in the spring semester. So what can students do with the platform? They can get their Holland Career Code, which gives them some idea about what areas of careers might interest them. They can find their learning style. They can explore colleges, build a resume, set career goals, select a CTE pathway, explore career fields, watch interviews of industry professionals, and then test drive activities that relate to that industry. They can also build a plan of study and an 8th grade high school plan. And so our goal is for every 8th grade student to have a career development plan in place by the end of December in preparation for high school registration. And our teachers and staff and counselors have been working very hard on that. Students are encouraged to revisit the plan every year as we know that interests change as students grow and develop. Shifting to guest speakers, we have hit the ground running this year with guest speakers in our CTE classrooms. This is a speaker from the United States Navy who is speaking to our Kinston High School automotive class about careers in maintenance in the military. I'm not sure what Spirit Day it was at South Lenoir that day, but County Commissioner J. McDowdy visited with Mrs. Melanie Smith's business classes at South Lenoir High School. Students and instructors in the Masonry program had the opportunity to go to an outdoor event sponsored by the North Carolina Masonry Contractors Association, meet with professionals in the field, and to hear about youth apprenticeship and apprenticeship opportunities available to them. And we are very pleased that we have an apprenticeship opportunity forming that we should be able to roll out in the next semester or 2. Mr. B.J. Murphy of News News visited Mr. Joshua Wallace's business classes to share industry information about owning your own business. And as always, CTE classes provide a wide range of opportunities for students to explore career areas and to hone in on interest. You can see the pictures on the slide. Masonry students at North Lenoir are rebuilding steps that lead up to the agricultural storage area, and that particular teacher has done a great job of doing real-world projects with his students that are making an impact around their school and in the community. Interior design students created career pizza boxes to showcase careers related to interior design, such as real estate agent and architectural modeling. Middle school agriculture students and high school food students partnered with our school's child nutrition departments to learn all about pumpkins, their nutritional value, how to process pumpkins, how to flavor and roast the seeds, and of course, how to make Halloween decorations. All of our traditional high schools and the Learning Academy have recently visited LCC for senior showcases and student showcases where students toured program areas and learned about all of the pathways that lead to careers. This is our Kinston High School group exploring public safety. Students have even had the opportunity to work with animals in animal science and to show them properly at the fair. We even had a Best in Show winner, so that was great. And teachers need career connections too. Here, Mark Pope, Senior Vice President of the North Carolina Global Transpark Economic Development Region, shares all of the exciting regional industry growth with our teachers at CTE Opening Day. And again, just a reminder of some upcoming events. We have Major Clarity Day. We have job shadowing taking place during Career Development Week on November the 16th, and we are so excited to be able to have that event happening again in this district. And thank you again to Ms. Harrison for making those connections. We have more guest speakers scheduled, career-focused field trips. Ms. Herring, thank you for those approvals. And we also have high school registration coming up, which is a big time for our students as they decide on those pathways. And I'd like to thank Ms. Herring for pointing out the College and Financial Aid Night that we have coming up on Wednesday night. We are so excited. This is the first year we have invited our 8th grade students to attend, so we'd really like for them to come out in a big way and support that. The session actually starts at 5:30, but that's okay. The financial aid session starts at 6 o'clock, so that was what that was. But they are welcome to come out. 50 colleges and universities. They can meet with the high school college advisors, and there'll be people there that can help them fill out the FAFSA and that can help them fill out college applications. So really excited about that event. So please come and visit us and see what that's all about. That concludes my report.
Any questions or comments for Ms. Jones? Thank you, Mrs. Jones, for sharing that update
Thank you.
on Career Development Month. And it looks like there is a lot of exciting things going on this month.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for all the hard work. All right. Chair recognizes Mrs. Frances Herring to present the Lenore County Public School System point of innovation that will be highlighted with presentations during the North County School Boards Association Annual Conference.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just waiting for, we're switching presentation. I'm impatient, but it's okay. That's nothing new. Sorry.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah. There we go. Thank you, Mr. White. Good evening, board members. Tonight, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the 11 presentations that Lenore County Public Schools will be presenting at the North Carolina School Board Association State Conference in Greensboro this year, November 11th through the 12th. The first presentation, Ms. Nichelle Shuck and I. Ms. Shuck is the representative at East Carolina University, and she's the director of the AmeriCorps Program STEM Core East Director. And we'll be presenting on how our school system, in partnership with AmeriCorps and ECU, have placed high school peer tutors, actually co-teaching with master teachers in freshman math and science classes. The results have been very impressive. Over the 3 years of the STEM Core East partnership, Lenore County Public Schools North Carolina Math 1 scores have increased due to the personalized learning and peer connections that this type of innovative tutoring program provides. LCPS high school seniors serve as peer tutors while earning scholarship dollars for college. And they report to us that we are the lead district in this model, and they are very excited to share this with the state. Ms. Jones will be presenting on bridging the opportunity gap, innovative career pathways, partnerships resulting in guaranteed jobs for students. And I just want to take a second to also let you know, we'll be telling you more about this later, but this presentation was also selected for the National School Board Association Conference as well. So we know Ms. Amy Jones is doing phenomenal work. This presentation highlights the North County Public Schools leveling up and expanding work-based learning experiences for students to include paid youth apprenticeship positions while in high school and guaranteed jobs after graduation. We encourage people to come and discover how the North County Public Schools is piloting cutting-edge, first-of-its-kind internships, youth apprentice, and apprenticeship programs in partnership with Spirit Aerosystems, Crown Equipment Corporation, and the North Carolina Masonry Association, and LCC. Mr. Holmes and Ms. Melissa Lynch will be presenting a presentation called Market, 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 using a combination of cutting-edge and traditional approaches to marketing to build a collective community opinion that public schools are the best available choice to educate children. And they'll be highlighting public schools, the need for public schools to market themselves as the best choice for parents among many available options. We encourage the folks to come and learn how the North County Public Schools strategically and comprehensively markets our district as a school system of choice using a balanced combination of traditional marketing strategies and cutting-edge outside-the-box approaches to winning the hearts and minds of all stakeholders. Mrs. Hines and I, she has disappeared. Ms. Hines and I will be presenting together The Road to Recovery the fifth time around, how Floyd, Irene, and Matthew influenced Florence, Dorian, and our COVID response. We will be sharing lessons learned from prior hurricane events and how it has informed the planning and preparation for Hurricane Florence and Dorian, as well as our response to COVID. Meeting student, staff, and family needs was the primary focus of our school system efforts. In North County Public Schools, we will share strategies for proactive planning with emergency management, the media, Health and Human Services, and relief agencies. Ms. Melissa Lynch and Mr. Charles White will be presenting a presentation called Looking Back to Plan Forward, LCPS one-to-one digital learning journey to increase equity and access for all students. And we will be sharing how the North County Public Schools has transformed our schools and district in a process that successfully moved the district from low-performing status to one of the fastest improving districts for student achievement in the Southeast region. An essential part of that success has been the intentional, strategic, and powerful initiative with digital learning. Learn how the North County Public Schools has not only has worked to level the playing field for all students, but also to increase the effectiveness of learning opportunities for all by providing a digital device for all learners, both teachers and students, in a sustainable structure that directly supports curriculum and instruction. Ms. Bryant, principal of Kinston High School, and Ms. Milford, one of her assistant principals, and Ms. Amy Jones will be doing a presentation called Building Stronger Family Support Structures at the High School Level, Family Engagement Structures in a High-Needs High School. And they will be talking about the importance of increasing family engagement at the high school level and how it can be very difficult. And they'll be sharing how a Title I high school has structured its parent engagement programming to increase family engagement and build community supports for the students, and how over the past 5 years, this increased parent engagement has combined with instructional transformation efforts to increase student achievement in both proficiency and growth. We'll also be showcasing more principals in our next presentation. Mr. Kerman, principal of Northeast Elementary, and will be presenting with Ms. Lorene Bell, the principal of LaGrange Elementary, in conjunction with Ms. Beverly Key, our Federal Programs Director, and Ms. Stacy Colley, our Elementary Education Director, on a presentation called Flipping Parent Engagement, Community School Families, Taking Family Engagement Beyond the School Walls. In the midst of all of the school closures, social distancing, and distance learning, learning how two schools remained connected and kept the focus on it's all about relationships. The pandemic and the need for physical distancing disrupted many of the traditional strategies to engage families. And in face of these challenges, our schools will be showing, with the recognition of engaging and supporting families during the time, how imperative it was to find ways to connect and partner with families and stakeholders. And they'll be sharing how they approached these obstacles with creativity, resilience, and resourcefulness to find meaningful ways to move learning forward. And the next presentation showcases our summer learning experience last summer. I will be presenting with the assistance of Ms. Crystal Carlisle, our middle grades director, Ms. Amy Jones, high school CTE director, Melissa Lynch, digital learning AIG coordinator, and Ms. Christy Eubanks, assistant principal, Continua Savannah. And we will be presenting Learning by the Sea, structuring a summer enrichment academy to address equity, innovation, and growth for all. And during the summer, as you know, students in Lenoir County have opportunities to engage in enrichment, STEM, EL, language development, social, emotional learning, and literacy instruction. Instruction is designed to serve all students, from the highest achievers to the learners struggling the most, to improve student achievement, enrich learning opportunities, and nurture the whole child. We're going to share our comprehensive design that we created to provide equitable opportunities for students in reading, science, technology, and math. And our summer staff piloted new programs, and then they go back and become instructional leaders in their own schools. And we're also going to share how our PD is embedded in the programs, providing opportunities for instructional leaders to grow. Mr. Santaman, principal of Lenoir County Early College, and Ms. Elizabeth Pierce, principal of South Lenoir High School, will be presenting a presentation called Dramatically Improving Student Achievement and Attendance through the Innovative Implementation of Restorative Discipline Practices. In this presentation, you will learn how Lenoir County Public Schools has been able to implement radical changes in mindset and actions regarding discipline over the last 4 years. Presenters will share how our district has dramatically reduced out-of-school suspension rates and at the same time posting significant increases in student achievement. And in this presentation, you'll find out how a system-wide change in mindset has transformed the culture of our schools and increased the opportunities for our students. This is going to be a great presentation. Mr. Hill, our board chairman, and Amy Jones and I will be presenting a presentation on transforming school board meetings from information sharing, discussing, and voting to leading and learning by truly engaging with all stakeholders. We are going to share how Lenoir County Public Schools has transformed your school board meetings from focusing solely on information and action items to strategic engagement sessions that provide board members and other stakeholders many opportunities not only to hear what is happening, but also to engage in and to experience the across-the-board system-wide transformation. At each monthly meeting and work session, board members engage directly with staff members, students, and parents about every aspect of our school system, including digital learning, curriculum and instruction, and many student support initiatives. Ms. Lynch and Ms. Harrell, Stephanie Harrell, is the digital learning specialist at North Lenoir High School. Ms. Harrell will be presenting with Ms. Lynch on Recoding Our Future, bringing computer science to students in rural communities. And as one of the first coding and mobile app development grant recipients awarded by Lenoir County Department of Public Instruction in 2017 and again in 2019, Lenoir County Public Schools utilized funding to design coding and computer science experiences for all of our middle school students. In addition to that, online coding courses based on the Apple Everyone Can Code curriculum are now available to every LCPS student. Lenoir County Public Schools has increased advanced computer science opportunities through the addition of AP Advanced Placement Computer Science courses offered through the Career and Technical Education Program. And coding opportunities are also available in elementary classrooms and are a part of extracurricular activities, helping us build our computer science pipeline. And they will be sharing the challenges and the successes we've had and discovering how we are changing the future for our students. And that is the conclusion of our 11 presentations that we will have in Greensboro next week, the end of next week. And if you have any questions, I'd love to try to answer them.
Any questions or comments from Mrs. Herring? Thank you, Mrs. Herring, for providing that information. I have attended several annual conferences and remember when the Lenoir County Public School System was not selected to present any points of innovation. This year, the Lenore County Public School System, as inherited, said will highlight 11 creative presentations that represent the hard work and dedication that has gone into making the Lenore County Public Schools successful. I am very excited for and proud of teachers, staff, principals, and administrators who have made this happen. Chair recognizes Mrs. Helen Hooker to present the October 2021 financial report.
Thank you and good evening.
Evening.
I'm pleased to present to you tonight the October 2021 financial report. The report summarizes budget and year-to-date activity for all Lenore County Board of Education funds as of October 31st, 2021. Additionally, it presents the unadjusted local current expense fund balance as of October 31st, 2021. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mrs. Hooker? Thank you, Mrs. Hooker, for sharing that report.
Thank you.
Okay, we will now move to the action portion of the agenda. Chair recognizes Mr. Eric Adams to present budget amendment number 1 to revise the 2021-2022 working budget.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Budget amendment number 1 is being used to revise the working budget of the Lenore County Board of Education to reflect changes that have occurred throughout the fiscal year. The following program report code justifications are presented as support of the budget amendment. You will see that the amendment is being made to the State Public School Fund for PRC 056, our Transportation Fund, PRC 069, our At-Risk Student Services Funds, PRC 073, School Connectivity, PRC 128, CRF Home and Community Wi-Fi. Additionally, the Capital Outlay Fund for the purchase of our yellow buses. As you have an opportunity to review the amendment, I will be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, Mr. Adams? Okay, if not, thank you, Mr. Adams. Is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to the budget amendment?
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Davis. Is there a second? Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Motion's by Mr. Smith. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Davis, forgive me. Okay, I was wondering for a minute if y'all were gonna want to spend this money or not. I didn't know. Okay. All right, we have a motion by Mr. Smith and a second by Mr. Davis to approve the budget amendment as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Adams.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Mrs. Amy Jones to present a resolution to sell South Lenore High School residential building.
Good evening again. Carpentry 1, 2, and 3 students at South Lenore High School built a house that is auctioned off at the end of the project. Students gain valuable hands-on skills that are transferable to the job market, and profit made, if any, goes back into the program to purchase equipment, supplies, and materials. Whoa.
Sorry about
That's okay.
Just kidding.
I didn't bring my glasses, Miss Haley. The resolution, and I can just airplay, right? Okay. The resolution and order of sale is attached to the request on the board docs. And just sort of to hit the highlights, we would like to sell the property. The highest bidder at that time will make a deposit of 5% of the amount of the bid as earnest money, and it would be returned if the bid was rejected. People are welcome to come and view the house prior to the sale. The property is sold as is, and it is the responsibility of the buyer to remove the property from South Lenore High School within 30 days after payment. We are planning to conduct the auction on Saturday, November the 13th at 10 o'clock a.m. at South Lenore High School. And we will be placing public notice on a couple of news outlets as well as the Lenore County Public Schools website. And I'll just share with you the flyer real quick if I can get myself on airplay. So this is the house. It is beautiful. It's 1,740 square feet of living area. It has 3 bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms. Anybody who'd like to view the house is welcome to call South Lenore High School to make an appointment to view the house. It will be auctioned by Mr. William B. Taylor, who's done that for us for many years. Some of the features, it includes built-in kitchen cabinets, vaulted ceiling in the living room, kitchen appliances such as dishwasher, range, overhead microwave, tilt-in windows, plumbing fixtures are in it, and insulation is already insulated. So just a very nice piece of property. This is the floor plan. It's kind of hard to see here, but anyway, you can see it's a very nice, livable floor plan. But I've been in it. It's beautiful. This has been a long time coming with the COVID-19 pandemic. We typically auction this off in the summer, but we've had some delays due to that. So we're very excited that this is about to happen. So I do request that you approve us to dispose of this property.
All right, any questions for Mrs. Jones? All right. Thank you, Mrs. Jones. Is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to the South Lenore High School residential building?
Motion to approve the sale of the building.
I will have a motion by Mr. King. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Davis? Mr. Smith, excuse me, gentlemen, I'm sorry. I've got a motion by Mr. King, and a second by Mr. Davis to approve the resolution to sell the student buildings out at South Lenore High School. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Ms. Jones.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Mrs. Frances Herring to present a proposal to consider changing Friday, November 12th, 2021 to an optional workday.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. In a response to a movement across the state over the last few weeks, in an effort to acknowledge the hard work and well-being of our educators across the state, we are coming to you this evening with a proposal to change Friday, November 12th from a regular instructional school day to an optional work day for our teachers and staff. Thursday the 11th is Veterans Day, and we are required by law to take that day off. And so that day is a holiday, and we are requesting that the next day be an optional work day. That was not in the original calendar. That, as I mentioned, there's a movement across the state to acknowledge the dedication and well-being of staff and to provide them an opportunity for some time to work. They should choose.
Okay, any questions for Mrs. Herring? All right, thank you, Ms. Herring.
Yes, sir.
So is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to the instructional calendar?
Move to approve the November 12th as the optional workday as presented.
Yeah, we got a motion by Mr. Smith. Got it right that time, right?
Got it
Is
right
there a
that
second?
Second.
I saw a hand here first, Mr. Davis. I'm sorry. Second by Dr. Outlaw. All right, so we got a motion by Mr. Smith and a second by Dr. Outlaw to approve the revised calendar as presented. Any discussion? All right. Hearing none. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mrs. Herring. All right. The chair recognizes Mrs. Frances Herring to present the NC STAR School Improvement Plans for the 2021-2022 school year.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you recall, the last board meeting, I presented a brief overview of each of our 17 schools' school improvement plans as they are housed in the NC STAR platform. You have a month to review them, and this evening I am respectfully requesting that the board approve the 17 school improvement plans as they have been presented to the board so that we may next month, upload them to the Department of Health Construction.
Okay, any questions for Mrs. Harrigan on the school improvement plans? Trust everyone had an opportunity to review them. All right, thank you, Mrs. Harrigan. Is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to the 2021-2022 school improvement plans?
Move to approve.
I'm sorry, who was that?
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Motion by Mr. Anderson, is there a second? Second by Mr. Woods. Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Anderson and a second by Mr. Woods to approve the NC Star school improvement plans as presented. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harrigan. And, you know, we'd like to thank all the principals and teachers and staff and community people and parents that have a vital part of preparing these plans and get them ready for board approval. Thank you. Okay, Chair recognizes Mr. Brent Williams for a review of the Lenore County Board of Education face covering policy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, the state law SB 654 requires local boards of education to vote at least once a month on whether their face covering policy should be modified. So we're bringing that before you tonight, as we have the last couple of months, for your consideration. We do have with us, we invited Ms. Pam Brown, Director of Public Health for Lenore County, and she's prepared to, if needed, to answer any questions, including to provide you with any information about moving forward and the process for moving forward, and recommendations that she might give about setting up metrics and looking forward on moving forward with next steps. So.
All right, any questions, Mr. Williams? Or Mrs. Brown? All right, thank you, Mr. Williams. Is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to the Lenore County Board of Education face covering policy?
Mr. Chairman?
I'm sorry, excuse me, Mr. King, I apologize. The Chair recognizes Mr. King.
May we have some discussion?
Yes, but I think, don't we need a motion on the table first before we have discussion? Isn't that generally yeah, we have to have a motion on the table.
All right.
That's generally, we follow Robert Rule of Order, and that's what they do. Okay. So is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to the Lenore County Board of Education face covering policy?
I move to maintain the current policy for the next 30 days.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Woods. All right. So, now, we have a motion by Mr. Anderson, second by Mr. Woods, to continue to require all students, employees, and visitors to wear a face covering while indoors at all Lenore County public school facilities. Now, discussion. Mr. King.
Yes, I would like to state that I think our original motion, I know this here is I believe, as it says, a synopsis of the original. I can't recall if that was made in August or September. The original motion was to wear masks in schools through the first 9 weeks, if I remember correctly.
No, that motion was amended at the recommendation of the lawyer.
Yeah, let's see, if I recall correctly, when we first talked about this, there was a motion to do that, but we weren't allowed to do that because by law, we had to review it every month, and make a decision each month moving forward.
And I hadn't finished yet, and I understand per the legislature that we've had to do this every month.
Yes.
So that, obviously the 9 weeks kind of went out. But anyway, per the numbers that were given to me tonight, we have approximately 9,600 students and staff working for this school system. Per the numbers that Mrs. Pam Heath gave us for the spreadsheet of positive tests and quarantine, we had 5 positive tests in 5 days last week. That's 5 positives out of 9,600. So what I'd like to know, since it looks like we had a motion and at least 2 other people that two other people that tried to second it, so that's 3. With 5 positives, what is our goal? What is the metric to get rid of the mandated mask? Because if it's 0, we'll never get to 0. I'm not finished, please.
I'm sorry.
This is a virus, and if Mrs. Brown would like to step in and correct me, please do. I'm no doctor, I don't have a medical degree. My wife has a doctorate in pharmacy. She's been in the field for about 25 years. This is a discussion of ours, probably 7 days a week is where we are with COVID. And this is a virus, and this is a virus that's changing. It went from the first COVID to then the Delta, and I don't know where we are now, but it changes, just like the flu changes. We don't ask mandates for flu. We don't ask shots. We don't ask to mask up for flu. Flu's a killer. We have a lot of people that die from the flu every year in this state, in this county. So I'm trying to understand what is our metric, what is our goal to get these masks from being mandated. I have no problem with optional masks. If you want to wear one, if your child wants to wear one, if you want your child to wear one, if our teachers want to wear one, absolutely be my guest. What's our goal? Because I've never heard where we're trying to go. 5 positive tests in a 5-day week in the month of October, the end of October, out of 9,600 people. So before we take a vote, I would like someone to answer what our goal is.
If you look at when we initially started, we had over 300 some kids in quarantine. I think we should continue to mask because the results are going down. We still got a lot of kids that need to get vaccinated if they're going to do it. And that is in reference to what the guys in Charlotte and Raleigh are saying.
Don't care about Charlotte Raleigh.
That's what Coop is saying.
Don't care about him either.
Okay, well, you don't care, but I do.
I care about Lenore County.
I'm talking about Lenore County.
Are you talking about Charlotte and Raleigh and Governor Cooper?
I'm talking about what the mandate they were saying is they still recommend that we have masks on.
Nobody in the community, or excuse me, very few folks in this community, other than our schools, the hospital, and a very few businesses are masked. I'm out every day, all over the county and all over the city, and I don't see masks. I go to football games, we don't have masks. I go in buildings, grocery stores. There's a few masks. I'm not saying nobody. I hate to say it. There's a few.
I go to football games, I have a mask.
You don't have one outside all the time.
I do.
Absolutely not.
I have one on.
I can dispute that right now.
I have
You have one around your
on
chin.
Yes.
Well, I can dispute that right now.
Well,
I know that for fact.
I'm going against, I'm keeping masks in place. It's my vote.
Let me chime in right there.
Yes.
I usually like to cite my sources when I do my research. So looking here, healthychildren.org, powered by pediatricians, trusted by parents from the American Academy of Pediatrics.
That's right.
This is the latest guideline. Why do we still need to wear a face mask? It's talking about children. It's possible to have COVID-19 but not have any symptoms. That's why wearing a face mask is still so important, as the virus still spreads, especially for unvaccinated children. Well-fitting masks reduce the chance of spreading the SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19. Should children wear masks? Yes, face masks can be safely worn by all children 2 years of age and older, including most children with special health conditions. Okay, so then the guidance still from the American Pediatric Association still says it recommends universal masking in schools at this time for the following reasons. A significant portion of student population is not eligible for vaccination. Protection of unvaccinated students from COVID-19 and to reduce transmission. Lack of a system to monitor vaccine status among students and teachers and staff. Potentially difficult in monitoring or enforcing mask policies for those who are not vaccinated in the absence of schools being able to conduct this monitoring. Universal masking is the best and most effective strategy to create consistent messages, expectation, enforcement, and compliance with added burden of needing to monitor vaccination status. Continued concerns for variants are more easily spread among children, adolescents, and adults. And it goes on and on. But, I mean, this is from the American Association of Pediatrics. from their latest guidance is saying that's why we too. Now, nothing is 100%. Masks are not gonna stop 100%.
Nope.
But the mitigation of the mask is what they're talking about. I think the numbers are down now because of more people are getting vaccinated for one, and for two, that we do have the mask in place. You gotta take into consideration the kids that are not vaccinated. Can you get it while you're vaccinated? Yes. I'll be the first to tell you that. But as I understand it, and from personal experiences, the symptoms is not as bad. But I think the mitigation needs to stay in place. I mean, we supposed to be going on the guidance of the experts. That's what I'm always told. These are the experts. The American Association of Pediatrics still recommend that we mask. And I think that until that guidance change, we need to keep it in place.
And for every instance of data or articles that you bring in, there's 10 that dispute it. Just like if I brought one in, you could probably pull up 10 that would dispute it.
You can,
Just as Mr. Britt had 3 minutes of data and articles and information that he spoke about tonight.
Yeah, but I'm bringing articles and data from the credible source that always,
That's,
that
I'm not
always
saying
says,
it wasn't
listen,
credible.
let me finish. You said you hadn't finished, let me finish. From it has always been quoted from day one of this pandemic, people wanted to use the American Association of Pediatrics guidelines when it fit
Who's that?
what they wanted it to say at the time. Now that it's changed, we don't hear that one anymore. So that's why I bring that one to you. That's the most one that deals with with children and follow the metrics and the data for children. This is the credible source. That's all I'm saying.
9,605 positives.
That's great, and we want to keep it that way.
And I'll be the first to go back, and if something were to happen, we have a big blowout, full-blown case, school just gets inundated, I'd be say, hey, maybe the masks were working, let's go.
But do we want that to happen? Do we want that
Well,
to
then we're
happen?
gonna have to wear masks forever.
No, we don't want
Because
to.
people, 100% of our population will not get vaccinated.
And could we vote?
That's not gonna
Yeah,
happen.
well, let me finish, we
I don't
can
know.
vote, but
You
let me
got
finish
somewhere to go?
let me finish engaging Mr.
If you're in a hurry,
King.
maybe you can.
Right.
You're always in a hurry.
If we would, please,
Yeah.
let's.
I mean, I'm trying to have a discussion.
Yeah, we're having a discussion.
Please, if we will, let each person take an opportunity to speak, let them finish. And I apologize to Mr. King a while ago, because I did not realize that he wasn't finished. If you will please, I know that we want to have a discussion, let's be civil about it, let's be respectful of each other. So if you would, please ask to be recognized to speak, and then we can get through. Somebody else wants to have to say something. That way we can keep the conversation going, and we can keep the meeting moving. Now,
Well, let me finish my thought.
okay, Mr. Smith.
What I'm saying is, and I done lost most of that thought with all that, but what I'm saying is that I am looking at the guidance from the American Pediatric Association. They're the ones who deal with it. Wearing a mask, no, it's not 100%. I wear mine at work unless I'm eating or drinking something. I wear mine at games, even though it's outside, unless I'm eating or drinking something. But we're not talking about the outside, we're talking about inside with kids who are sitting with each other, close proximity to each other, and have the chance of not knowing that they're carrying it and passing it to somebody else. Do we need to wait? That's where I was going with this. Until we have an outbreak to say, oh, the masks were working. You know, it's just like a lot of instances we see with railroad crossings. They don't put up certain markings until so many people have died. We don't need to wait and see if that's gonna, well, it was working, but now we got all these kids sick. That's just where I am, Mr. King, and we can have a difference of opinion, and it's okay to have this discussion, which I'm glad we are.
I said there is anything wrong with having
Yeah,
this. I'm
that's
trying to
right.
discuss. He's trying to rush. I'm not trying to
I'm
rush.
trying to rush. I'm just
Okay.
trying to give you my.
I'm just trying to, I'm
I'm-
asking this board, what is the metric, what is the goal to remove the mask?
Maybe we should ask the expert about that.
Let me, so we have to have a discussion.
And Mr. Chair, would you like to
I'm sorry?
recognize, Mr. Chair, would you like to recognize who should speak next?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, asked if you wanted to recognize who should speak next.
Yes,
There's some cross
yes,
talking.
okay. Who would like to speak next?
Can we get,
Mr. Woods.
can we get input from the health department?
Can you get input from the health
Yes,
department? Ms.
right
Brown,
now.
are you prepared to answer questions?
Brown is here, yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brown. So before we start, let me just say, we've had this discussion with King, and so when I looked at the numbers last week from the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Resources, Lenore County is still, correct me if I'm wrong, Mrs. Brown, still high in community spread. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
So we have discussed about getting to a point where we can use some metrics to determine that, maybe get, with help from the administration and from Mrs. Brown. But as long as the community spread, and I just voice my own opinion, is still high, I certainly would be in favor of trying to mitigate, COVID with masks. So, Mrs. Brown, who would like to ask Mrs. Brown a question? Mr. Woods?
Yeah. What is the guidance from Raleigh? From the Health Department woman in Raleigh? What's the guidance? Still wear masks.
It is correct. In the latest briefing that the governor and Secretary Cohen had last week, the recommendation was to continue masking. I think that the Strong Schools Toolkit is asking that school boards look at the level of community spread. You can find it on the DHHS website. There's the map that the CDC produces. And counties are usually listed in red or orange or yellow or I believe blue, depending on the level of community spread. So a few weeks ago, most of North Carolina was completely red. All counties were experiencing a substantial level. We are starting to see a little bit of yellow and some orange, but still the majority of North Carolina, including Lenore County, remains substantial community spread.
Thank you.
So what would you say to the other counties, maybe that are right now making decisions tonight and last week to go optional? Are they defying the governor? I don't think they're defying the governor.
Well, I think it's important locally. I think that what you're saying about kind of knowing what your metrics are, what to look for, is really important, because there is a time when I imagine that we will not need masks. I can imagine that time, and I pray for that time sooner rather than later. I know that a lot of folks have wanted, including my staff, I see my staff getting more and more fidgety. It's tough, it's difficult, but you're to be commended. You've made some difficult decisions, and you've seen your cases in the school system just drop and drop and drop and drop. So you are on a great trend. You're on a great trend. I think the thing that I would ask you to think about is to not stop utilizing the tools that you have right when right when we are on this verge of hopefully getting over this latest wave. And it usually takes a few weeks to know if the trend that you're seeing is going to be a true trend for the community. And my hope that it is. But I think it's really important, especially with some holidays coming up, especially with some other things and not knowing how they might hit our community. I think it's really important to carefully consider, do you want to have that full toolbox of tools when you're in a good position and heading to a better position, hopefully? Is it time yet to let some of those tools that have been proven effective go?
Anyone else have any questions for Mrs. Brown?
I'd like to ask you one,
Mr. Anderson?
and you may not know the answer to this, but is it possible that the mask mandate that's in place in the school system is helping to bring down the numbers in Lenore County?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyone else have any questions for Mrs. Brown? Okay. Any more discussion?
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Call for the question.
All right, thank you, Mr. Anderson. So we have a motion on the floor. Now, motion by Mr. Anderson and a second, I'll repeat it since it's been a long, a motion by Mr. Anderson and a second by Mr. Smith to require all students, employees, and visitors to wear a face covering while indoors at all North County Public School facilities. That concludes discussion. We'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Williams and Mr. Brown. Okay, Chair recognizes, Mrs. Ms. Hughes with us tonight, a substitute for Mrs. Murchison. And so we're going to recognize Mrs. Nishu to provide an update on the current status for legal services of bond forfeitures for Lenore County Public Schools.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My understanding is that your prior attorney for bond forfeiture work is phasing out and into retirement and is no longer available for that work. And so the question I think before the board is, I believe you have a couple of local attorneys who have been offered as potential options, or you could issue an RFP for bond forfeiture services, and obviously invite those two individuals and also see if there's anyone else who would be interested in that work. And then after the RFP has been issued, the administration could bring back, a summary of those proposals, and the board could determine at that point. But so I think the question before the board is if it would like to issue an RFP for bond forfeiture legal work. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mrs. Chair recognizes Mr. Smith?
So did you say that there were a couple of local attorneys that had, what was that statement completely? I heard you say 2 local attorneys had expressed interest. Is that what you're saying?
And I may defer to Mr. Williams on this. I believe that
Tharrington Smith has been doing this work in the interim while Frank Swindell has been phasing out of this. He phased out a couple months ago. Tharrington Smith picked that up, specifically Rod Malone in their office. And Rod informed us that he had talked with Frank Swindell on the transition, and that Frank had talked with some local attorneys, and that 2 in particular had expressed interest in it. But that's as far as that went. Nothing formal, that's all informal. So essentially your options tonight are to try to pursue talking to and getting people to come in and essentially make a pitch to the board, or the more formalized process of bidding it out basically with the RFPs.
So I think that we need to go that route and bid it out, because having Tharrington and Smith do it, I believe, provides be a little bit expensive.
So, just to say, do we need to get a motion on the board, on the table before we start the discussion, like previously? Okay.
Yes. So that
there is a recommendation to do the request for proposals, right?
yes, to issue an RFP for bond forfeiture legal work.
Okay. So, does anybody have any question now for Mrs. Michaud? All right, now, thank you, Mrs. Michaud. Is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to legal services for a bond forfeiture provider?
Move to, how you want to phrase that?
To issue an RFP for bond forfeiture legal work.
What she said.
Okay. All right, we got a motion by Mr. Smith. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Anderson. So there's a motion by Mr. Smith and a second by Mr. Anderson to, in essence, to bid out bond forfeiture providers for legal services. In essence, right? We're going to do
Yeah, to issue a request for proposals,
right.
yes.
Okay, now, discussion. Okay, no other discussions, no other questions? All right, we hear none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Okay, Chair recognizes Mr. Nick Harvey to present an update on the Facilities Committee recommendation.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Teachers Memorial Facility has been on the agenda a few times to be considered a surplus. First in 2016 and again in 2017. As you recall, the Teachers Memorial Facility was the district's professional development site and a pre-K center after the school officially closed. The motion was tabled in 2017 to ensure that the facility, and there will be no impact of the K-3 class size mandate. Tonight, we respectfully ask that you consider the Teachers Memorial Facility as surplus with the proceeds of the sale returned to the district. I'll entertain any questions you may have.
Any questions, Mr. Harvey?
Or do you want a motion first?
Yes, sir.
Are you gonna require a motion first?
If you have a question,
I don't have a question.
you have a question? No question? All right.
Mr. Chair, and I would say that I think the question before the board is if this property is unnecessary and undesirable for school purposes. That would be the standard for declaring it surplus.
Okay.
Yes.
So any more questions of Mr. Harvey? If not, is there a motion or recommendation pertaining to Teachers Memorial School? All right, Mr. Woods has the motion. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Davis. Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Woods and a second by Mr. Davis to approve Teachers Memorial School as surplus property. Now, discussion? Mr. Anderson.
When we voted as a board to close Teachers Memorial and move the pre-K program to majority of the pre-K program to Southeast, one thing that we as a board, and not me personally, failed to acknowledge the tremendous and fabulous job that the administration and the pre-K staff did in making that transition as smoothly as you did. I grant you that. Secondly, we didn't recognize what a model program we were dismantling at Teachers Memorial when we did it. Subsequently, we have dispersed those students throughout the schools in the system. If I understand correctly, almost every one of those centers are at or near capacity. When we closed Teachers Memorial, we eliminated room for third sessions, assessments, and decentralized program operations. We dismantled that. Now, in conversations with the partnership, they have a waiting list of about 30 kids that they can't find sites for. Now, it won't help Teachers Memorial, but the majority of those kids are in Pink Hill and Moss Hill. I want to say they said something like 20. Now, my thing is, I want us to really think hard. If Congress ever gets this act together and passes universal pre-K, which was the hope when we dismantled teachers, but time wasn't on our side, I would acknowledge that that building has deteriorated beyond the point where we could probably do anything with it. But the fight that's going to still remain, that hopefully in the future, we're going to have an opportunity to do something tremendous for this community if we can expand and keep pre-K. My question is going to be, where are we going to put them? And I just hope as you take this vote tonight, that that's in the back of your mind too. Because you're going to have to do, I would hope that you would want to do something to take advantage of that opportunity if and when it becomes available. I yield.
Any more discussion, any more comments? Yes, Dr. Outlaw?
So is there, excuse me, so is there a plan, as Mr. Anderson just asked, if that indeed happens? Do we have a plan in place or something like that if that happens? Universal pre-K? I'm sorry, my voice is.
We have space around the district. Our ADM has been declining consistently for over 25 years, and we do have space in existing facilities for that. And if we were to suddenly lose, for instance, if we were to lose Kennedy Home, where we lease our alternative school program, we could absorb that as well in existing facility space. Bottom line on teachers, and I agree with Mr. Anderson, it's our pre-K is a model program. It's an outstanding program. Our goal is to grow that program. The fact on TMS, and it is heartbreaking, it breaks my heart. I love that school. But it is in such a state of disrepair right now that it would just take more money than the district has and more money than would justify fixing it. Every HVAC system, it's been vandalized multiple times. The HVAC systems have aged out. We didn't spend money over there in anticipation of a transition on newly needed HVAC repairs and upgrades. We've had people in the community interested in that, local pastors and others who've expressed interest in trying to take the facility and make it a worthwhile contributing community entity. We certainly would embrace that. That would be all the board's decision, but that certainly would be a good use for the facility. We are proud of our pre-K. I agree with everything he said about pre-K and growing and trying to grow our program. It's just that facility is in such a dire state right now.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
So now just make sure we're clear. We had a committee, a facility committee that met. This was the recommendation that came from the committee,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm gonna say something too. So I was on the board at the time that teachers was closed, and I don't know if anybody remembers any discussion or the vote, but it was 5-2 to close Teachers Memorial, and two people that voted against closing it were sitting here side by side each other. Because I at that time, I'm speaking for myself, I felt like we didn't have enough information. I didn't feel like we had done enough of the study. I felt like, as I said back then, we did not do our due diligence to make that determination. So I voted against it. And I even said, if we did our due diligence, we may come to that conclusion. That's what we need to do. But that's been, how many years now? 4. And I've asked Mr. Harvey and Mr. Williams, about the facility and about what it would take to make it usable. And it just seems that now we've got to the point where we really would, I'd hate to see us spend that kind of money on a facility. That is, as old as it is and as unoccupiable as it right now. So I agree with Ms. Anderson back then, but I just don't see how we can continue. And I understand what Mr. Anderson is saying. We need to have a plan so that if something does happen with that pre-K, because we have pre-K there, we have professional development there, and we have storage. Of course, the concern was what were we going to do, and just as always, with Mr. Anderson's, the administration and staff, hustled and found a way to do that. And I feel pretty confident if we were to have pre-K, they'd find a way to do that too. We'd come up with some way to figure out what to do with the pre-K or expansion of even class, with needing additional classrooms with the class size restrictions. Okay, anybody else? Any more discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Chair recognizes Mr. Harvey presents additional surplus items.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The attached items are submitted for your approval to be deemed surplus. Any proceeds derived from the sale should be returned to the respective department. Tonight, we have technology items, and thank you, Mr. White, for gathering this information. This is just another leg in our journey to dispose of old equipment. And,
Thank you,
pictures
Mr.
there.
Harvey. Is there any questions for Mr. Harvey? All right, is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to the surplus items?
Move to approve move to approve, the surplus items as presented.
I have a motion by Mr. Smith. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Davis. I have a motion by Mr. Smith and a second by Mr. Davis to approve the surplus items as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Now, is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to closed session?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Chairman, I move that Lebanon County Board of Education enter into closed session under North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 to prevent the disclosure of confidential personnel files, to consult with the board's attorney in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege, and to consider matters relating to the initial employment of an individual.
We have a motion by Mr. Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Davis. Motion by Mr. Anderson, a second by Mr. Davis to move to closed session. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. We are now in closed session. Okay, Chair recognizes that the Lenore County Board of Education is back in open session. Is there a recommendation or a motion pertaining to the personnel report?
Move to approve the monthly personnel report and both addendums.
I have a motion by Mr. Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Woods. I have a motion by Mr. Davis and a second by Mr. Woods to approve the personnel reports with both addendums as presented. Any further discussion? Here now, we'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion, as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. And now, no further business to come before this board. Is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to adjourning the meeting?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Anderson, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Smith. A motion by Mr. Anderson, second by Mr. Smith to adjourn the November regular board meeting. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor of the motion stated, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. Please stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.